Coming up on the March 18th edition of Carolina Week, a UNC alum questions the university. In his words, UNC has lost its way. Is he right?
You might have noticed your water tastes differently this month. We'll tell you why.
A local restaurant is cooking up alligator, ostrich, and other exotic meats. Carolina Week starts
right now.
From the UNC School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering Carolina in HD, this is Carolina Week.
March Madness, the big dance, and tourney time. Whatever you want to call it, it's here.
Hello and welcome to Carolina Week. I'm Elizabeth Hugh.
And I'm Susanna Black. Let's bring in Molly Oak for a look at Thursday's first round game against Harvard.
And the 4-seeded Heels will take on the Crimson, the 13th seed, at 7:20 tomorrow night. So here's what the boys need to do. Kennedy Meeks has to play big in the paint. And speaking of playing strong, turnovers just can't happen. The Heels can't afford them in the tournament this year. And another thing, Marcus Page has to hit his threes. And, you know, it never hurts when Bryce Johnson slams one down, or maybe more than one. That recipe should get the Heels into the next round of the big dance. Now, the coach for Harvard, Tommy Amaker, not only played at Duke for 4 years, but also was an assistant coach before he started coaching at Harvard.
Things are definitely getting a lot more personal around here.
Wow, thanks, Molly. As Heels fans look forward to the tournament, a dark cloud still hangs over UNC athletics. Many were hoping after the release of the Weinstein report that Carolina could move on from the embarrassment of 18 years of bogus paper classes.
But the scandal just won't die. An article in this month's Sports Illustrated titled, "How Did UNC Lose Its Way?" brings it all up again. The writer is UNC alum S.L. Price.
In the article, Price questions the value of UNC degrees and the systems put in place to correct the mistakes highlighted in the Weinstein report. Quote, maybe UNC administrators thought they could manage the ever-increasing tension between academics and sports because they had done it for so long. Associate Vice Chancellor for Communications Rick White acknowledges the mistakes the university made.
That was a very dark time for us, but we've acknowledged that. We're going forward and making this a better place.
Price's biggest issue stems from the low academic standards of the athletic department. From their rock-bottom SAT scores to weak GPAs. But university officials maintain the caliber of student athletes has improved, not just on the field, but in the classroom. In 2010, there were 40 extreme academic risks in the special admit pool. Last fall, only 9.
We do attract and recruit students that can succeed academically and athletically.
But Price isn't the only alum disappointed with UNC. Pulitzer Prize-winning book critic Jonathan Yardley says in the article, I have hanging in my home office a framed Distinguished Alumnus Award that the university was kind to give to me. But I look at it now and think, do I really want that on my wall? So what about alums who remain disappointed?
We've said, yes, this did happen, and we've taken accountability and responsibility for that. Now we're here, and now we're going forward. If the critics want to live in the past, that's where they'll stay, and we understand that.
We reached out to Price for comment, but he didn't return our emails or social media messages. How can UNC improve student learning in the next 5 years? The university's accrediting body has charged the Quality Enhancement Plan Committee with figuring it out. For starters, committee members want to increase active learning classes, increase undergraduate research opportunities at UNC and abroad, improve better bridge science, humanities, and arts classes, and increase entrepreneurship and creator space opportunities.
Should students have to pay to get to class? Well, soon you might have to. Reporter Nikki Mandel is live in our studio with more.
Susanna, Chapel Hill Transit is in need of money, and it could go from your wallet straight to a bus meter.
Senior Emily Foster walks to this bus stop 4 times a week, and she's not the only one.
I would say most of the students in the business school take the bus to get to class. We can't really park anywhere at the business school, and it takes about 30 minutes to walk there.
Students on a budget might have to start making that trek soon. The buses are aging, and Chapel Hill Transit needs money to replace the fleets and hire more employees. A tall order following a 30% decrease in state funding over the past 5 years. The consulting group that reported to the Carborough Board of Aldermen in January had several proposals for getting the $80 million needed.
But one of the options that has surfaced is should we start charging fares for Chapel Hill Transit?
UNC spokesperson Randy Young says, ultimately, how UNC comes up with its share of the money is up to the school.
We've enjoyed a fare-free transit service for almost 15 years now. As folks follow along this process, they will see myriad opportunities to participate, to make their voices heard.
But Foster hopes to close the door on that conversation now.
I don't really think it's fair to charge students to use the bus because then we would be being charged to get to class. And based on the number of times I usually take the bus, I think it would really add up.
Chapel Hill Transit is also looking into funding alternatives, such as passing a new tax and reducing transit services.
Yet another possible expense related to college. Nikki Mandel live in the studio. Thanks, Nikki.
Hundreds of students are having difficulties logging into their UNC email accounts. The reason? IT work done to update Hillmail accounts and add new features. Information Technology Services sent out emails before and after the change with directions for Hillmail users. Since then, almost 700 students have called into ITS, citing issues like trouble logging in through mobile phones or getting on through Google Chrome and Connect Carolina. ITS staffers say they're working to solve the problems.
Students organizing to rename Saunders Hall are gearing up for the March Board of Trustees meeting. The Real Silent Sam Coalition released its manifesto addressing arguments against renaming the academic building. Although the BOT promised to discuss the group's demands at its meeting next week, some students suspect the change in location from the Carolina Inn off campus to the Rizzo Center is an attempt to stifle student voices.
Your next sip of water might taste different than what you're used to because of one change in how workers sanitize it. Reporter Ben Smart joins us live from the Owasso treatment plant. Ben?
Elizabeth, I filled up this water bottle from the water fountain about an hour ago. Let's see how it tastes. There's a bit of a chlorine taste, but all in all, it's not too bad. I took a look at what has changed and its possible effect on our health.
Kenneth Laughlin manages something precious to all of us, our water supply. He says every drop passes through this water treatment plant.
On average, we're filtering about 7 million gallons a day right now.
The Orange County Water and Sewer Authority runs the plant. It delivers water to the Carborough and Chapel Hill communities. That's 85,000 customers. Laughlin says this month your water might smell and taste a little different than normal.
That you may have like a swimming pool smell in your home, or you may taste the chlorine.
11 months out of the year, chemicals called chloramines sterilize the water. During March, and March only, the plant uses chlorine instead, adding a small amount to the water supply to kill bacteria that build up in transport pipes. Does this powerful chemical pose any danger to our health? Professor Mark Sobsey says chlorine added to water is actually sodium hypochlorite, what's also known as household bleach. Adding chlorine poses a very low risk of cancer because chlorine can react, forming harmful byproducts.
The cancer risk is regulated down to a very low probability, 1 in 100,000.
He says chlorine's minor cancer risk doesn't make a splash compared to deadly bacteria.
They can kill you, in a matter of days.
Back at the nearby water treatment plant, chemists monitor bacteria and chemical levels closely. Thanks to this water treatment plant, we can continue to enjoy safe, clean drinking water.
If the chlorine taste bothers you, an activated carbon filter could help, or squeezing a simple lemon into your water can help to neutralize that chlorine taste. Elizabeth, back to you.
Orange County Water and Sewer Authority says it has been on this yearly chlorination cycle since 2003. Ben Smart live on the story. Thanks. E-cigarettes don't burn anything or produce smoke.
But these gadgets are igniting health concerns. Next. Restaurant patrons in Durham are eating everything from antelope to alligator at Bowl City Burger and Brewery. What makes a meat exotic? Science reporter Alistair Wilkins explains.
It might look like he's eating a hamburger, but this customer is actually enjoying ostrich meat. Bowl City owner Seth Morris.
It's exciting to talk about I ate iguana or python and do some education with that and explain to people burgers are not just beef. We can make burgers out of anything.
In the U.S., we consider animals like antelope and alligators exotic because we haven't traditionally raised them for meat. UNC archaeologist Ben Arbuckle explains.
And there's a really long history of people being interested in that other wild world and how it's different than the domesticated sort of urban or village life.
But why have cattle and pigs been on the menu for 10,000 years, but not, say, antelope?
They get nervous around people, and that's not good if you're trying to raise a herd.
Alligators might not be nervous around people, but there's a whole other problem with raising these giant killing machines for meat. Alligators don't have enough babies, and they grow up too slowly, unlike herds of cattle or sheep.
Herds get sick a lot. And their populations can fluctuate, and they have to be able to reproduce and grow and keep their numbers up.
Arbuckle says he'd like to try ostrich. As for Morris, he's long wanted to sample an aquatic mammal.
Well, even if for me it's just a taste, I want to say that I've tried beaver meat. So it's eluded me for 3 years. This is the year that I'll get to try beaver meat.
Those who eat 7 of the burgers get their own free t-shirt, saying I never met a meat I wouldn't eat. I'm going to get started on that right now. In Durham, I'm Alistair Wilkins, reporting and chowing down.
Now, Alistair knows better. What's the first rule of Carolina Week, Elizabeth?
You don't report on food if you're not going to bring us in a sample. Come on.
Exactly.
Residents of Carborough have more than just St. Patrick's Day to celebrate this week. Bicyclists gathered at Town Hall Tuesday to celebrate the town's designation as a silver-level bicycle-friendly community. Participants brought their bikes and their helmets, then embarked on a ride around town. The celebration ended with the presentation of the award to the chairman of Bike Carborough. Carborough is the only silver-level city in the state.
Some people say flavors make e-cigarettes appealing to kids because they smell and taste good. Alexis Simmons is live in our satellite studio with more. Alexis?
You know, Susanna, I have some treats with you right here. Oreos and peanut butter cups. Now, yes, they are treats, but they are also e-cigarette flavors. Now, e-cigarettes can have benefits for some people, but researchers say there are dangers too.
For lifelong smoker Jay LaPuma, there's no debate. It's simple: quitting tobacco.
The smell of cigarettes to me is horrible. The taste of it, you know, I don't like my clothes smelling like it. You know, my teeth are whiter.
LaPuma works for the Vapor Girl, a North Carolina-based vape company. E-cigarettes containing tobacco-derived nicotine might be a step up for Jay, but a step back for people who never use nicotine products. Postdoctoral fellow at the UNC Center for Regulatory Research on Tobacco Communication, Dr. Jessica Pepper says there are hidden dangers.
Some studies showing finding that there's nothing harmful in the vapor produced by e-cigarettes. Other studies showing that there's a little bit of harm, other studies showing more harmful chemicals.
So what's the truth and why is it so difficult to measure?
There's no standard kind of e-cigarettes.
Different brands have different e-liquids that fuel e-cigarettes, some with nicotine and some without. Researchers tell me this product could pose secondhand vape risk. As it stands, producers don't have to tell you what's in their stuff.
They should regulate it, and it can't happen soon enough.
Health advocates are calling for the FDA to impose a strict age limit in all states, require companies to tell the FDA exactly what's in their product, and restrict e-cigarette advertisements. Mark Sylvester is part owner of the Vapor Girl. He says there are potential regulations he can embrace, but one is a concern for the $2 billion plus industry.
They say tobacco flavors only. Well, that's unreasonable. First of all, our strength is that we have so many flavors.
You know, Sylvester says he has more than 280 flavors, and that's what keeps his customers coming back. You know, researchers and e-cigarette advocates both want to save lives, but what's different is their approach. Back to you, Susanna.
Thank you, Alexis. Despite a North Carolina law barring minors from purchasing e-cigarettes, a recent UNC study revealed that young people can easily buy them online. When it comes to footwear, people really can't make up their minds.
The weather is schizophrenic also. Drew Day has your forecast next.
Well,
Welcome back to Carolina Week, everyone. I'm Drew Day. Thanks for staying with us. We have plenty of sunshine across the state out there this afternoon, and that allowed temperatures to make it into the upper 50s across the area today with plenty of sunshine. But we are watching this area of low pressure sitting off to our west over Texas. And with it, you can see there's lots of clouds. It's also producing rain. And it's this area of low pressure that will move to the northwest in the coming days and bring us the chance of rain throughout the afternoon tomorrow and through the overnight period early Friday morning. So let's take a look at that right now. This is a look at the forecast radar. This starts at 8 p.m. this evening and will run through tomorrow morning. Right now, all of that rain is centered over the Gulf coastal states at this time, but that will be pushing eastward, and as it does so, it will be moving closer and closer to North Carolina. Now, for this evening, we expect it to be dry, just a little chilly out there, so if you have any evening plans, everything's just going to be fine. Just grab a jacket with you, but no rain is expected. As we head into tomorrow morning, that rain continues to move closer to the area, and by 8 a.m., you'll start to see a little bit of blues showing up here, so there might be a few sprinkles tomorrow morning, but for the most part, your morning commute will be just fine. You won't have to worry about dodging raindrops on your way into work tomorrow morning. Those showers will begin later in the afternoon and continue throughout the evening. Now, what about our longer-term temperature trends? Well, we'll show you that now with our geopotential height map. And remember, the winds are blowing parallel to these white lines. And so right now we have a little bit of a northwesterly wind, and that's why temperatures were cooler today, in addition to the passage of a cold front compared to the 80s that we had yesterday. But as we head into the coming days here, the flow will start to flatten out just a bit, and so temperatures will return to the 60s by the time we head into the weekend, in fact, reaching the upper 60s for the day on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we expect temperatures to be in the 60s before a little bit of a trough comes back into the pattern here. It's really hard to pick out, just a little bit of a dip right here. So temperatures may cool off just a little bit for the day on Monday, but for the most part, the weekend does look nice. So for tonight, temperatures will be in the upper 30s across the area with increasing clouds, so that by the time we wake up tomorrow morning, we'll be overcast with temperatures in the upper 30s. By lunchtime, they'll be in the mid 40s with, again, the rain chances increasing, but then the showers becoming more numerous across the area later in the day on Thursday, with temperatures right around 40 once again after reaching a high of 50 in the afternoon. Now, the showers again continuing into the overnight period, so that the majority of the morning on Friday will be wet. We may see a little bit of sunshine in the afternoon, which would allow us to get to around 53 if we see enough sunshine. But the weekend does look nice with temperatures in the upper 60s, with 66 on Saturday and 62 on Sunday. So dreary the next few days, but at least the weekend will be nice.
Right. Well, I'm glad to see that.
Definitely. Thank you, Drew.
All right, you're welcome.
The start of what the Hills fans hope will be a deep-seated tournament run is just hours away.
Molly Oak is next with sports.
I'm Molly Oak with Carolina Week Sports. Lots about basketball coming up, but first, the men's lacrosse team took on Harvard Tuesday night. Senior captain Jimmy Bitter scored 5 sweet goals to lead the Heels to victory. That ties his career high for goals in a game. 9 other players scored goals against the Crimson, including senior defenseman, a defense player, Jake Bailey, his second of the season. And senior midfielder Drew Hayes threw in a goal as well. And the Heels won at 15-10, improving 9-0 on the season. Gotta love being undefeated. And the Diamond Heels faced the Davidson Wildcats Tuesday, but did so without their top 2 sluggers, Landon Laster and Sky Bolt, because of what Coach Mike Fox called an inability to consistently attend required tutoring sessions. The Wildcats jumped out to a 10-0 lead. Ouch, that's gotta hurt the Heels. They were struggling on offense, and the Davidson hitters were just flat out embarrassing Carolina's pitching staff. The Heels looked to be done, but not so fast, my friend. Down by 7. Did you hear that? 7 runs. Carolina went on a streak that would have made the 04 Boston Red Sox proud. The Heels tacked on 6 runs in the 9th, but Davidson was able to hold on for the 12-11 win. So UNC's March Madness run is about to begin. 13th seeded Harvard knows how to pull the upset. The Crimson has beaten New Mexico State and Xavier in the past 2 tourneys. We talked with student broadcaster Ben Zosmer about the experience of this Ivy League team.
Definitely, these are guys who know how to play against big-time opponents. That doesn't mean, though, that they have the ability necessarily to play against big-time opponents. I think this Harvard team, while they're still impressive, while they're still very slightly the best in the Ivy League over Yale, they also have some real flaws, especially on offense. And when placed against UNC's defense, and especially North Carolina's rebounding abilities, I think it could still be a very difficult one for them, even with all the momentum they have coming in.
Sosmer says the player to watch won't be the leading scorer, Wesley Saunders. There's another player waiting in the wings.
Now, if you're from the future and you say Harvard beat North Carolina, to me what I say must have happened was that Corbin Miller just lit it up. He doesn't do much else other than shoot threes. Every now and then, like so many three-point shooters are, he can be really streaky. But when he's on, he's also on fire, and he can really hit the threes, and Harvard does a great job with their offense of getting him open for those threes.
March officially becomes mad tomorrow. I know some of us still have a lot of blank spaces in our brackets, and you might hate some of the players, but you've got to love the game. Now, are y'all going to participate in the Sports Extra Bracket Challenge?
I don't know about that. I hear competition is pretty stiff.
That's the word on the street. Thanks, Molly.
Thanks, Molly. Are people saying goodbye to church?
Or are they moving to larger, mega-sized churches that emphasize production value?
According to the Hartford Institute, the term megachurch generally refers to any congregation with a sustained average weekly attendance of 2,000 or more, and megachurches are growing by about 10% per year.
A traditional Sunday service at Calvary Lutheran. You might see some empty pews and mostly older faces. But drive 10 miles through Concord, North Carolina, and you'll see a much different scene at Elevation Church.
I walk into the experience and like there's music playing, everybody's excited.
Corey Brumbles has been a member of the non-denominational megachurch since 2013, after spending her childhood in more traditional churches, including Calvary.
I grew up Lutheran, and every single time that we had a service, it didn't click.
Or you can pretend to pull it up on your device and play Candy Crush.
But Brumbles was hooked to Elevation pastor Stephen Furtick's more contemporary approach, and she's not alone. UNCC Religious Studies professor Sean McLeod says traditional denominations are losing members in big numbers.
Presbyterian Church USA, for example, has lost about 40 to 50% of their members since 1965. Now, where do those people go?
When Elevation Church first started a decade ago, their 100-plus members would have filled up a space this size. And today, Elevation would need an arena this size to fit its more than 17,000 members. But not everyone thinks bigger is better. Mike Rimkus has been going to Calvary for more than 20 years.
My son invited us to Elevation. It's kind of glitz and everything, and it's not us. We want more of a personal touch.
Calvary's pastor Debbie Fry says the church is losing members to megachurches like Elevation.
Their youth have felt attracted to the worship that the megachurch is providing, and so the parents have gone along to support the youth.
Now in North Carolina, there are actually 17 of those megachurches, totaling more than 70,000 members.
Wow, 70,000 members. That's pretty unbelievable.
It is. Thank you for watching this edition of Carolina Week.
Good night.